They say a chameleon can only change its colors to adapt to its surroundings, but the truth is that's a myth. Though the chameleon does possess the ability to camouflage itself in nature, it's natural. It's rarely a forced outcome. When it begins to blend in with its surroundings, it signals that they're relaxed, or what some may call carefree. Like the reptile, humans also possess this ability. Although we can't change our color, we can emulate our surroundings. And by surroundings, I'm referring to people. The scientific term is mirroring someone. Some people use both their emotions and their actions to emulate that of their counterparts, and in return, they receive the currency of acceptance. But what happens when acceptance becomes disapproval, and disapproval becomes deception? The answer is simple. You get the outcome of this next narrative. This is the story of Aleyah and Royal McIntyre. January 4th, 2012. The world would make way for Aleyah McIntyre. She would be born to her mother, Retta McIntyre, and her father, Kevin Maddox. The place they called home would be the state of New Jersey, where she would be born in Pleasantville. By the time Aleyah was born, the relationship between her parents began going downhill. For Retta McIntyre, it was almost like deja vu. Retta was the type of woman where when she loved hard, so she would often try to transform herself to meet your needs. While in the midst of trying to become the woman you wanted, it often went left. If you have to mold yourself to become the person someone wants, you lose yourself in the process. And 9 times out of 10, the outcome for this is resentment. Not only from your mate, but you also hold resentment for yourself. And regret is a hard thing to come back from. So naturally, the parents would separate. Upon separation, they would co-parent, but it wasn't an easy route. Retta and Kevin would often quarrel about their differences of opinion in raising Aleyah, and so on. But although they didn't see eye to eye, they tried their best to keep this out of the eyes of Aleyah. Aleyah is described as someone who was smart. She was sweet. She was also outgoing. She possessed a smile that radiated light, and she was also affectionate. As time progresses, Retta would move on, and she would eventually meet a new guy, a guy who goes by the name of Michael Coleman. Not long after meeting, they would come to find that Retta was pregnant. She was once again about to welcome a life into this world. By December 30th of 2016, the world would come to a halt for the family, because that's the day that Royal would be born. Retta would bring forth another baby girl, a companion for her older sister, and from birth, they were inseparable. This time around, things were different for Retta. She was on a completely different journey, a spiritual journey, which Michael had introduced her to. In return, Royal would be raised different than Aleyah was, at least in the beginning. Royal was taught to be one with the universe and one with nature. She loved to play outdoors, play on the monkey bars, and she would also build castles out of the mud. When she wasn't busy doing that, she enjoyed Roblox, but her favorite thing of all was spending time with her sister. Though the family resided in New Jersey, in the year of 2019, they would make a big move. They would move to Arizona. They cite that the reason for this move was due to spiritual reasons, but underneath the surface, something else was lurking. Retta and Michael had fell on hard times, and when they moved to Arizona, things got even harder. In fact, Retta, Michael, and the 2 children would spend a lot of time on the streets. So, here they are, 2 children in the care of parents who are struggling to make ends meet. But if that wasn't enough, another problem was about to arise. Kevin Maddox, the father of Retta's first child, Aleyah. He had gotten word of what Aleyah was going through, so he petitioned the courts, and he was seeking full custody. While this custody battle was going on, Retta and Michael seemed to get grounded. They found an apartment, and they were also searching for a home. But although things were turning around for the mother, the court would side with the father, and he would be awarded full custody. This would happen in the year of 2021. Aleyah is now 9 years old, while her little sister Royal is 4. Aleyah is a 4th grader at Sunny Slope School, while Royal was looking forward to her first year of kindergarten. But sadly, Royal would never see that day, because before the year came to a close, a tragedy would occur A tragedy that would claim the life of Royal, but also her older sister. September 8th, 2021. Around 5:30 p.m., Michael Coleman would return to the apartment that he shared with Retta and the two children. As normal, he would go home, put his key in the door, turn the lock, and enter. But this time, things were different. Upon entering the home, he would observe the presence of blood. It was on the walls and on the floor. The trail would lead up the hallway to the first bedroom. When Michael tries to open the bedroom, he can't get in, so he immediately goes to the second bedroom. The second bedroom belonged to the children, and when he opened the door, he seemed to see Aleyah and Royal peacefully sleeping. And although the house was stained with a red substance, there was none on them. But when he goes to try and wake them up, he gets no response. At that point, it was obvious. The girls weren't sleeping. They were no longer here. Immediately after discovering Aleyah and Royal unresponsive, Michael Coleman would contact the authorities. They would arrive at the home shortly before 6 p.m. Upon arrival, Michael was already standing outside, and he was pleading for help. When the officers entered the home, they would immediately locate the two sisters. Like Michael Coleman, they would observe two girls laying on the bed facing each other, and they looked to be peacefully sleeping. The officers had been made aware that there was another person who lived in the home, Retta. Michael explained that he believed that she was in the room that was locked. There's a reason why Michael couldn't get in that room, and it's because the room was barricaded. The authorities were able to gain entry into that room, and when they did, they would observe a female lying on the bed. They would find Retta unresponsive and looking to be suffering from wounds that were dealt from a knife. While Aleyah and Royal were pronounced DOA, when the responding officers checked Retta, she still had a pulse. She would immediately be transported to the local hospital, while Michael Coleman would be taken into custody.
The Phoenix Police Department is investigating an incident that occurred this evening just before 6 o'clock p.m. in the area of 13th Street and Mountain View Road. We received a 911 call from an adult male reporting his two young children were deceased inside his residence. They also located an adult female with obvious signs of trauma. She was transported to a local hospital and is currently in critical condition. The adult male was detained and is currently cooperating with investigators. We are not sure what his what part he played in this incident that we're investigating. He is cooperating, he has been detained, and investigators are speaking with him.
He would be thoroughly investigated and then let go. It was obvious he had nothing to do with what happened. While Retta had suffered wounds, the girls had no external injuries, so they were shipped off to the medical examiner's office for a full autopsy. An examination would conclude that there was no bruising, no marks, no sign of physical injury. So at that point, they had to wait on the toxicology report. Meanwhile, Retta is still in the ICU, but she's expected to survive. She's doing okay. Due to her being heavily sedated, the officers would hold off on questioning her. After all, Retta holds the key to what actually transpired. A short amount of time would pass, and the toxicology report would return. And when it did, it would tell all. They would find that the girls had fell victim to a cocktail of medication. The primary medicines found in their systems were Tylenol and oxycodone. In layman's terms, the girls OD'd. The only question now is how. How did that end up in their system? And how did Retta end up with wounds? It wouldn't be a question that was hard to answer, because while investigating the home, they found a note that was left by Retta. It turns out that Retta never expected to survive her injuries, because they were self-inflicted. She also admitted in this note that she was the perpetrator. She, in fact, gave her children that medicine. The motive behind the act was Aleyah. She was afraid that she was about to lose her forever. So instead of turning Aleyah over to her father and co-parenting, she decided to end it all.
The father of a 9-year-old girl allegedly killed by her mother, speaking first to 12 News.
She took my baby's life from me, from my family, from her sister.
Kevin Maddox wants answers
It hurt so bad, yo. It hurt so much. That was my baby.
Court paperwork says she confessed, saying she did it because of the custody case.
I don't know what happened. I wasn't trying to be mean to her or nothing. I just wanted my baby back. That's it. That's all.
The custody battle has gone on for years. Maddox in New Jersey, Retta in Phoenix. But Maddox sent us a copy of an order from 2019 that shows a judge ordering him to have custody of Aleyah. Still, the fight continued for 2 more years. Maddox says he even asked Phoenix police to check on Aleyah in September of 2020. Police confirmed they did, but no one was home. Phoenix police say unless a judge gives them an emergency order, they typically aren't involved in child custody.
Despite all of his due diligence, none of the law enforcement agencies assisted him. And the end result is there are now 2 children whose lives have been lost.
I had big dreams for her. Me and my girlfriend. We had big dreams for her. And now she's not gonna be able to do any of that.
Maddox and his family want to know how this happened. Cruz is being held on $2 million bond, charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder.
Retta would have her day in court in the year of 2021, but when she showed up, she wouldn't contest the charges. She would plead guilty. She had reached a deal with the prosecution. In return for her guilty plea, they would spare her life. She would be handed down 2 consecutive life sentences and remanded to the Arizona State Prison for women. Retta had committed this act out of pure selfishness. But although she was brought to justice, the story doesn't end there. February 21st, 2025. Retta has now spent a few years in prison, and she's contemplating on the things she's done. It's safe to say that she's in agony. She has to live with the fact that she's responsible for the death of her daughters. From the accounts of people that knew her, they explained a woman who, she was a chameleon. Someone who molded herself to be with the person she was with. She wanted to be accepted, to be loved. But although she gave her all, it always fell short. The relationship with her first child's father, failure. And then she moves on to Michael Coleman. They were in a bind. They were homeless at one point. Everything seemed to be going wrong. Another huge failure. And then at the end of the road was that custody battle. The custody battle with Aleyah's father, which would abruptly end in another failure, with Kevin Maddox being awarded full custody. And with that failure, she would once again go into chameleon mode. But this time, it was used to match 2 people that she loved, 2 people that were no longer here, her daughters. And like them, she would also cease to exist. Retta would be found inside of her cell, unresponsive. The attempts to save her went unanswered. It was already too late. Due to the guidelines, I can't tell you exactly what she did, but I can tell you that it was self-inflicted. She did it to herself. Some might say it was her guilt that was eating at her, that caused her to do what she did. Some people may believe she simply snapped, but I want you guys to realize that this was full-on premeditated. In addition to the written note that was left on the scene, there was one more note left elsewhere, a note that the authorities missed. She would take to her YouTube channel, which is now deleted of all videos and postings, and she would simply write, "No white man, aka judge, who doesn't even want to go with her drunken father has to. Bang your gavel on the next slave. Government never scared me. I had respect for all only because of my kids. I would do nothing to risk them. This is my small life. The last 2 years battling custody for my daughter, who had ADHD and high-functioning autism, had more to deal with than defend false shit from my hub's ex-narc. She kept me away from my stepdaughter and will never know who I was. We had fun. Pictures will prove it. My daughters can't be apart. It almost killed them before. That judge and my daughter's father can kiss my, oh, it's too late. We were here. Now back home." Notice how home is written with punctuation in between the letters, though there is no definitive answer for what it truly means. Spiritual people call home inner peace, that they have now connected with a higher power. In her mind, what she did was right. She saw herself as a savior. She had amplified time to change her mind and not do what she did, but instead, she carried out the act. One of the most selfish things that could be done. I find it ironic seeing that she ran an entire Instagram page that was dedicated to defending yourself against narcissists. Was she helping or simply projecting?
I just want to hop on here really fast to show some love, some support, and encourage all those that are currently going through a toxic situation. I mean, don't really see an ending point dealing with a narcissist. And to be truthfully honest, there is no ending point if you don't just completely walk away. I want you to know that you're not crazy. They are. And that whatever that you feel have been stolen from you, whatever you feel that they have tried to demolish, whatever you feel that they have lied to, I don't care what it is that the narcissist have done to you, just know that their karma is gonna come, and you may very well be their karma in the future. They manipulate their own brain, their own minds. It's not just us, guys. Like, please understand that they manipulate and they lie to themselves. And you have to be a psychotic motherfucker to do some shit like that, you know. But this is what they do, you know, and this makes them feel better. This is their reality. And once you separate their reality from your reality, you come to the realization that these people aren't just playing with your life. Like, they're not lying about you, they're lying about themselves. They lie about everything. These people are deeply disturbed, and it's not me, you know. It took so many years. I had to really read everything, and it was like a pattern, you know, the manipulation. They're empty. And us empaths, like, yeah, I get that we're emotional, we feel, but sometimes you have to know when to hit that I don't give a switch. The universe is going to really show itself to you, you know. It's all about your focus, though. You can't be so focused on what they're doing or what they did. You have to just align yourself, you know what I mean? Refocus. So if you allow someone who's disturbed up here to take your sanity, then I mean, what were you all along?
Well, Brian and Christina, good evening. Plenty of people in the community came out tonight to honor the memories of those two little girls who died earlier this week. You can take a look at this. It's pretty big, pretty large size memorial out here in Phoenix. There's flowers, there's plenty of candles out here, stuffed animals, balloons. We're told the one girl's favorite color was purple. They have plenty of purple colors out here. And also the messages. A lot of these messages were actually written from one of the girls' classmates. And basically the message that they have in pretty much all of them is that they want them to know that they are loved.
It's just me. It's like heartbreaking for me because nothing like that ever happened in our school.
How did that make you feel?
Sad and upset.
These children spent the evening writing messages for their friends, letting them know that they will always be loved and they will never be forgotten.
That we love her so much, no matter what.
What happened to 9-year-old Aleyah McIntyre and 4-year-old Royal McIntyre is completely heartbreaking. To be taken out by their own mother, someone that they love dearly. I'll never understand why Retta did what she did, and it's not for me to understand. It's not for you to understand. And while what she did is completely despicable, I'm pretty sure there were some underlying issues, mental disabilities. When it all boils down, In the end, there were 3 victims: Aleyah McIntyre, Royal McIntyre, and Retta Cruz, who became a victim of herself. It's all around tragic. Rest in peace, Aleyah and Royal. Thank you for being a light for others.